Asmon only debating with people who can't articulate. This is 388 comments. Holy sh... Well, we're not gonna read all of these. I watched Asmon on YouTube. Speedsley has an open dialogue with chat, response people disagree. Today I watched Twitch video, and I was able to see what was being said in chat. Realized he only calls out the most illiterate people to argue with. Almost the entire chat was disagreeing with him, and he had many well-written arguments in chat. Instead of reading any of these, which at quick glance were much more well-written, he chooses to pick the guy that has misspellings and incorrect grammar for an easy win. Made me wonder if Asmongold opts to engage in arguments with those that have less polished communication skills rather than engaging with a more well-articulated argument that could provide a legitimate debate. After all, wouldn't it be more interesting for viewers to see a robust discussion that challenges his views rather than an easy win over someone who struggles with language skills? I think both of them can be entertaining. So no, I don't pick people out that are stupid. Like, sometimes I will pick out a crazy person, but I think that, like, picking out somebody who disagrees with me is different than picking out somebody who's just saying something completely nutty. Like, I do this all the time. Now, obviously, as with most criticisms like this of me, there are no examples of it. So we can't really actually judge whether this is true or not. Everybody just, you know, people just either upvote this or not because it's like, yeah, this has got to be true, guys. It's insane. I don't agree that articulation has anything to do with the ability to debate. Well, I think it does to an extent, for sure. Yeah, chat flies like crazy. Well, I mean, I think I read a lot of them. The guy thinks Twitch chat is a plethora of articulate arguments that I'm ignoring. Well, let's see if anybody has any down here. Let's see. Asmongold is perfect. He isn't always right. Doesn't have to be either. He's a shithead. No need to look deeply at this. Entertainment. Skip the debates. Okay. Slumpy spoiled. Whiny spoiled kid when he started. Grew up to be a little bit taller. Somebody got banned in chat, apparently. The streamers in general do it. High opinions of themselves. Yeah, and so, like, you can tell that this is the kind of mind of a person. Like, I feel like I've been very, and I always have been, like, very willing to listen to, like, an actual opinion on something. Not, Asmon, wrong, you're stupid, and you're stupid because you're a loser, and you don't know what you're talking about, and you're dumb. Like, I'm not gonna fucking pay attention to that. I don't really care. But I feel like if somebody has, you know, somebody disagrees with me, and also, how can I know that somebody is not articulate whenever they pull up a message, whenever I pull up the first message? It's hard to really know that, because even people that are articulate might not be using proper grammar. So if I ask them to say something, I would have to base it off of, because I'm obviously reading it off of chat, so I'm only basing it off of one line of text. So, like, unless I'm just picking somebody who, like, can barely speak English at all, which is clearly not what I'm doing, I would have no real way to judge whether somebody is articulate or not based off of one message. It would be impossible for me to do that. So that's, like, the entire idea is predicated on, like, it's an impossibility. Unless I'm doing it in, it's just, like, people that are just, like, actually illiterate. Yeah, it's a lottery. Let's see here. You know, Austin has said frustrated you. Opinion on internet person doesn't shower frustrates you, bro. I hope the grass is green. Yeah, exactly. Most of auto-inflated egos, so hypocrites, most things have content they steal whenever with their reaction streamers. Yeah. You can't have somebody who's a mindless streamer hater without them being illiterate. Let's see here. Spit up his own ass recently. Other day chatters were saying expensive MTX on top of $70 purchase is a little much. He turned it into a bootstraps lecture, strawmanning. Like, you can only be so mad because of poor take. Cherry top was him saying he re-examined, took control of his own 10 life, put it in the right place, right time. The only thing you ever make money in, even with the millions of dollars, you're barely a functional human being. Clearly struggles with most basic world upkeep, self-improvement, really. So, well, I'm right, though. Like, everything that I said was true. I was 100% true. Let's look at who this is. Let's see for ourselves. Work reform. New World. Oh, see this. No wonder there's something wrong with this guy. Anti-work. So, big surprise whenever I go and I'm talking about somebody working, that someone from the anti-work subreddit hears that and they get unhappy about it. Yes, let me repeat myself since it upset you. If your problem in life is a video game that you are going to play for more than 20 hours, be realistic. You're going to play Diablo 4 for more than 20 fucking hours, okay? And if you're not, then maybe don't buy it. But I think most people are going to play it for a fuckload more than 20 hours, especially over the course of the years that it will be developed. Funded, of course, by those microtransactions. If you can't afford $70 for 20 hours of entertainment, you need to re-examine your life. And this only applies to people that are in first world countries. If you live in Argentina, that fucking sucks. But I'm talking about people that live in the US, people that live in Canada, people that live in these nicer places in Europe. If you can't afford that for that much entertainment, you need to reevaluate your life. And it might not sound good hearing it from a streamer, sure. But that doesn't make me wrong. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Let's see here. Gacha player spends $10,000, gets 10,000 hours out of it. Of course. Sounds obvious to me. Yeah, truth hurts. No, thank you. No one asked. You did, because you're in my chat. Yeah, you're in my chat. That's how you asked. I'll read a few more. I don't understand the argument. Ultimately, this is your channel. Engage what you want. No, that's... I'm just saying that I'm not wrong about what I'm saying. This is completely true. If you can't afford... If this amount of money is like this upsetting for you, for the amount of entertainment value that you get out of it, like, I would say that most other types of entertainment that people engage in, that's like commercial entertainment, is a lot more expensive than video games. Even if a video game is $70. Even if it has microtransactions, which, by the way, are optional. And also, if you feel like the game still doesn't have the dollar value, well, you can never beat the dollar value on a free game, right? Because you're multiplying, 0 times any number is still going to be 0. So why not just only play free games? But you're not going to do that. So you have to have like a rational dollar per hour value that you're getting out of a game, and then base things off of that. If I say that fucking Diablo 4 is going to be on the positive side of that dollar per hour ratio in my mind, I don't think that's wrong. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Yeah, just play PoE, yeah, or something like that. Couldn't you make the same argument that having a Netflix subscription is more entertainment for less money? Yeah. So then just get Netflix. I mean, you have to make, like, for example, like, if I was going to buy my dad something for entertainment, I would not buy him Diablo 4. Okay? I would not do that, because he's not a video game player, okay? I think the last video game he played a tank game, and he played a shooting game. And both of them were on, like, an arcade. And before that, you know what game he fucking played? Was Pong, alright? My dad's not a gamer. So, the idea that, like, this is like an objective analysis is silly. It's going to be subjective no matter who it is. I don't think the game's worth $80. I won't buy it. I wait. I don't need it now. Yeah, that's true too. And so if you don't think that it's worth it, that's fine. But what I find to be problematic, though, and this is why games have a lot of microtransactions, and also another thing with the microtransactions inside of the games. So oftentimes I will use these interchangeably, but just know that I think it sucks that buy-to-play games have microtransactions too. I think it does kind of suck. However, I think that if you purchase a buy-to-play game, and the buy-to-play game is continuously developed and new content is added to that game over time that extends beyond the original purchase of the game. So like after launch, I think microtransactions are actually ethical. I think they're totally fine and completely ethical because they're funding new content. You still bought the base game. You were able to play the base game, and there's optional content that you can or cannot engage in that is for fee. So yes, expansions are good. Exactly. Yes, yeah, something like an expansion. I don't find them to be unethical at all. It doesn't really make sense to say so. But with microtransactions that are pay to win, etc., I don't really like these things either. But what you have to understand is that there are a lot of things in the world that I don't like. And while I might not like certain things, I still have to acknowledge that those things exist in the world. And whenever you exist in this world, you have to make sure that you draw the line somewhere. And all I'm saying is that I think that a $70 buy-to-play game, because again, inflation is fucking crazy. I can go to the inflation calculator again. You can clearly see that $70 is very much in line with what video games would have cost back in the day if you adjust for inflation. I think that's totally reasonable. Like, what other type of entertainment costs the same amount of money that it did 15 years ago? It's insane. So that's number one. And number two is that even if I don't agree with it, I mean, I can't make it go away. I can't stop it. So if I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth out of it, I don't think it's a big deal. What about crowdfunding games? I think there's a lot of nuances to that. I can't get into all of them. Who are mad real wages are stagnant can redirect that anger a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like, people can get mad about that, but the truth is that while wages are stagnant, inflation isn't, and these companies are going to continue charging more for prices or for things because that's just what companies do. Movies are more expensive to make, but cheaper to buy. If you combine the movie and music industry together, they don't make as much as games. I don't know about movies. I have no idea. I mean, maybe you're right, maybe you're not. Like, do movies make more money, less money? How much is a movie ticket now? I don't know. How many people buy DVDs? I find that very hard. It's very hard to make that comparison. Like, for example, like, how much does HBO Go? Yeah, how much is HBO Go? I'm not sure. It's $15 a month. Okay. So if it's $15 a month and you subscribe to watch Game of Thrones, you're paying $45 minimum, right? Because it's going to be at least 3 months, and it's going to be 10 episodes, something like that, and that's going to at least be 3 months. So you're paying $45, actually. So it's I think that's a lot of money. Whenever you think, and that's assuming that you unsubscribe as soon as Game of Thrones is over, which a lot of people don't do. So I don't even think that's entirely true. It's a bad argument. Movie length is 10 times less than the game. Yeah, there's that too. In-house digital stores don't have a retail cut. Yeah, there's that too. But it's a lot of time investment for the money spent. Yeah, I mean, everything's going to be a little bit different. But can you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I find that what I said about this was completely reasonable. Let's see here. Inflation isn't bad. It barely affects people. Yeah, bro, that's why I make more money than I did 5 years ago, but I'm broke as fuck all the time. I mean, I don't know why you're broke as fuck all the time. If you think $70 is a lot of game, you just need to get a better job, reevaluate your life, and stop complaining. Very much if you're homeless, just get a house. Energy on stream. That's whenever I realized Asmongold's good dude. Grew up pretty poor. He's still pretty out of touch. Yeah, I'm not wrong. Like... I understand, and again, this is a person that's broke all the fucking time, and so they're not really mad at me. They're just mad at me for reminding them about it. Yeah, I'm not wrong about this at all. It's crazy. Just buy a house, come on. Yeah, clearly. Because wages have not significantly increased? Yes, I know that. I think that a lot of people are unable to, like, make the logical separation between me acknowledging something and me approving of something. And this happens all the time on the internet. It's nothing special with me. Just because I acknowledge that wages have not, you know, increased with the rate of productivity or anything like that, I don't dictate wages. You can't control how much money you make at your current job, really. but you can control other things that can maybe improve your life. So if you want to spend all your time on Reddit complaining about how society's bad, listen, nobody cares and it doesn't matter. It's going to go nowhere. Everything you're typing, all of these posts, they don't mean anything. You're wasting your time. You're not affecting any change. You're not improving your life. You're not even trying to. There's going to be no positive effect whenever you're done with the post. You're not going to change anybody's mind. You're not going to make your life any better. You're just wasting your life and you're wasting your time. So just because I say that doesn't mean that I think that the wages should be what they are. No, but they are. So you can't live in a fantasy land. Just because I acknowledge reality doesn't mean I approve of it. It's crazy. And this is why, another therapy echo chamber. Then why are you reading his post and getting mad? I don't feel like I'm really getting mad. Like, I'll tell you, I'm actually not mad. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm mad. I'm not really mad about this at all. Yeah, I'm just reading the post. Yeah, just because I acknowledge that I'm bald doesn't mean I'm approving of it. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna break. They have a like to dislike their situation regardless of their ability to change it. It's up to them, but I don't want to hear, like, I don't want to listen to somebody complaining that their entertainment that they are going to spend probably potentially like tens, hundreds of hours on costs $70 as a one-time fee, and somehow this is unreasonable. This is insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's insane even in the context of inflation or in the context of just like any other commercial entertainment that there is. I'm amazed that I'm getting so much pushback for this, to be honest. People are dumb. Most games are $70, have 8 hours of gameplay. Yeah. His prices will never go down? No, they won't. Yeah, and also, if you don't like it, just wait for the game to go on sale, too. I mean, it's not really that hard, is it? So, let's see here. Very much you almost get a house energy on stream. I love how people that, I can say to reevaluate your life and try to be able to put yourself in a position to buy a $70 game without being super resentful about it. And somehow this in their mind is the same thing as telling them to buy a house. No, it's not. You don't have to completely reorder your life. I mean, and also, like, am I really wrong? No, I think they just don't want to hear it. Games are cheap in AAA games because companies won't be able to afford to make them. Yeah, I know. I get what you mean, but I don't know. Games have been 60 so long, so I can understand the pushback against 70. But that's why they're 70. Don't you understand? That's why they've been 60 for so long. That's the point. Holy shit. Oh my god. I just, yeah, you know how much people spend on a night on one bar? Oh, I have friends of mine that spend $500, $1,000, fucking in one night going out. And by the way, I know what you're gonna say. Oh, well, they're streamers. Oh, yeah, all of his rich friends? No, these are my friends that make $2,000 a month. $3,000 a month. Yeah, no, they spend 1,000 of it right there downtown. Saturday night, first weekend of the month, third weekend of the month. Is that can you get my Chipotle? Yeah, like my card is like this thing with my bank. Yeah, work hard, play hard. Yeah, that's it. How they afford rent? Live in mom's house. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's what people do. They do that shit all the time. You're lying your ass out? No, I'm not. Jeff does that. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about Jeff. I'll just say it. I'm talking about Jeff. Jeff does it all the time. Cody used to do it many times too. Yeah, I'm talking about Jeff. Let's see. Who else do I know? Fuck. I feel like Jeff's probably the biggest one. Eric did this for a while. He did it whenever he was like 21 to like 24, he would spend all his fucking money. And then he stopped. Jason, oh my God. Jason. Yeah, Jason was another one. He would spend all of his money. He wouldn't even go out to party, okay? He would spend all of his money on fucking alcohol. All of it. Like, I'm talking like go to Specs and he actually needs the shopping cart. And he would just drink all of it. Yes. So yeah, and these are all friends I went to high school with. Like, these aren't people that like are just, you know, oh, some rich streamer. No, absolutely fucking not. Poor Jeff, you on Chipotle now? I'm sure he'll fucking, I'm sure he'll bring that up. Yeah. So, oh, Diablo 4 will have paywall content beyond the base game. People who don't have the DLC weaker. Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. I mean, like, every game has expansions. That's what happens. I mean, again, I think that that's what people want, is for they want the developer to continue developing the game. Yeah. Let's see. I'll read a few more. I can't total as chemical exposure people that just leave when the train spilled out the chemicals in Ohio. Oh, people were so upset about this. Oh, they were so fucking mad. Well, we'll see what happens in 10 years. Yeah. I think the truth is that if people were able to measure the negative effects of it, and the negative effects were like radiation on the level of Chernobyl, nobody would disagree with what I'm saying. I think the only reason why people disagreed with me on this is because they assume it's not that bad. I think it is. That's why all the animals around the spill are dead. We'll see what happens. Okay? Yeah, we'll just see what happens. You still don't get it? Well, that's because there's nothing to get. Yeah, there's nothing to get at all. Like, there's no... there's no logic about this. Out of touch? I'm not out of touch at all. How am I out of touch? Well, I'm actually, you know what? I'm just gonna ban that person. We'll read the actual, because he used the wrong your, and I know that if I pull this guy up in chat, people will say, oh, here's another example of Asmon pulling up an illiterate person, which in this case was true. So I figure, you know what? We're just gonna ban him and move on. Yeah, that's the only reason I banned him. Like, I would have done that, but like in the context of this, it would be like, ah, well, you know, oh, here's an example. He's doing it right now. So I'll read a few more of these. Sense to get what he said, but he had to wrap with a bootstrap shit. Game costing $70. I love how people say it's bootstrap shit, but at the same time, like, how else are you going to improve your life? Why don't you go play slots on stake? Maybe just, yeah, go play the lottery. How about that? I mean, is that the only way that you can be successful in life, is to play the lottery? It's so crazy. Go do something. He was actually joking? Oh, no. Okay, well, if he was joking, he can get unbanned. Yeah. That's not a big deal. Okay, some people end up making mistakes in life and end up with the burdens, you're right. But it can be rough for them, the mistakes made in the past. I have no problem if somebody says that I made mistakes in the past and it's holding me back. What I do have a problem with is someone saying I made mistakes in the past and it's because of a YouTube video or it's because of society. No, it's probably not. It's because of you, because there's other people that were faced with the same problems that you were and they didn't do it. But you did. That's the difference. Let's see here. MTX has room from base game to sell you for more. That's why it's an issue. Oh yeah, it sucks, but that's... So here, let me explain it like this. This is a little bit loud, I feel. Enough people don't care about this to where it will keep happening. So if you're unhappy about this, it won't matter. Because people keep spending money. Like, that's it. Yeah, people are just going to keep spending money. So even if you don't like it, then it doesn't matter. So because I acknowledge that, that doesn't necessarily mean that It doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's okay. That's just how it is. I mean, I was literally below the poverty line when I was a kid. Now I'm an ER doctor. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, I understand that, like, people have problems in life, and, like, nobody's saying that it's easy, but, like, you have to at some point take control or take accountability for your own life. And people just get mad hearing it because they don't want to hear it. Because they want to be told that everything in their life isn't their fault. Yeah. Or if you're too poor to move away from an area like that, I think you should acknowledge this. I don't know. I mean, I can't say with every single person what every single person should do in every single circumstance. Like, yeah, I mean, if you're fucking like 90 years old, I probably wouldn't move away either. You're gonna fucking die anyway. Who cares? Right? I mean, like, why put yourself through all that stress? So yeah, I mean, of course there's gonna be exceptions. Just because there are exceptions to certain things doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have a general rule. It's not that they can't change, just takes time. A wild emergency. Happen in that process, you can't get stuck. Yeah. Just have to stop buying microtransaction stuff? Yeah, I think so too. But the truth is that people aren't going to stop buying microtransaction stuff. And I had to learn this over 10 years with the store mounts. Like, the store mounts in WoW were really upsetting to me. It pissed me off a lot because I cared a lot about, like, having progression in that game and everything. And Blizzard did everything they could to make it not matter. And you can get mad about it every single time, but nobody cares. That's the problem. And even if people do care, it won't affect the outcome. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't like. Like, for example, I don't like daylight savings. And I also don't like the fact that it gets really hot in the summer. But, like, I can't really stop that, okay? I don't have the control. I can't control the weather. Yeah, I can't do it yet. Sorry, guys. So I just have to deal with it. Let's see here. Run time 40 minutes. Yeah. Downfall a few minutes. All right, I'll read a few more, then I want to move on, okay? I got lucky. He's only relevant because he has legit entertainment skills. Was one of the first big streamers, especially when it comes to WoW. Whenever I look at big streamers, they're not really the most entertaining to watch, in my opinion. I wonder if Asmongold would have made it big as he is now. I started streaming today, like 2 years ago. Yeah, I think people always say that. And that's going to be something that a lot of people feel. And I think it's a cope from a lot of small streamers. I think it absolutely is. Because this is what I always say with this circumstance, is that in a year from now, you're going to know the name of somebody who didn't think this was true. And that's the truth. It's a silly thing to think. I started streaming in 2016. And within like 2 years, like my stream, I had like 20, 30,000 viewers. Also with my YouTube channel, I started that from scratch. Like, and then I made the second YouTube channel. And then now I have a third YouTube channel, and now I have a second Twitch channel that's also successful. Oh, I don't know. How many times can you get lucky in a row? Right? I mean, how many sevens can be in a row until maybe it's like, maybe there's a reason why this is happening? I don't know what to say. Let's see here. That's not fair. You're, what's this here? You're just funny and interesting? Well, yeah, that's my point. But what I'm saying is that if you go back and you watch my videos from like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I'm not as interesting or funny probably than I am now, right? In a lot of cases, I'm more funny, but those cases aren't as sponsor friendly nowadays. So the truth is that it's a learned skill, just like anything else. Like, everything is like kind of a muscle. The more that you do it, the better you get at it. The better you are able to understand, like, what people want to see, what they don't want to see. It's experience and time. So, I don't know what else to say. Nothing against you, but it's always the same channel, same content, just different points in time. I think that you could make that argument, sure. But I think that for many cases, anybody who's successful with, like, streaming or whatever... I think that if you asked probably 5 other very successful streamers why they're successful, why that sixth person is successful, all 5 of those streamers, if you gave them like the top 5 reasons, I bet the 3 of those 5 would be in all of their reasonings. Sorry, that's like maybe a hard way to explain it, but I think that if you understand what makes people successful in streaming and what doesn't, it's actually not as complicated as you might imagine. Like, I understand it very well, and that's why I'm good at it. That's why I own an org about it. That's why I've done it well for many, many years, and I will continue doing it well. So yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. Number 1 is consistency. I think that there's a lot... Like, if you ask me, like, with one specific streamer, I could explain exactly why they're popular. And then if you asked any other top streamer why that same streamer is popular, they'd probably tell you the same reasons. This case where empathy is important, logic is good, and saying what's real is important. Yeah, and again, like, I'm just not interested in coddling people and telling them that, you know, what they were doing and everything that they're doing that's not good is good. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, like, I'm just not going to pat you on the back for it. I don't think anybody should. Yeah, I mean, I think that those are 2 different things. Well, let's see. Let's no speak. We need UBI. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I swear. Yeah, see, this is the kind of this is the kind of language that that you use. And Asmongold saying lucky to be in a position he's in, but tone deaf and out of touch to act like the pricing isn't an issue to 99% of the people in the world. Well, it's not an issue to them. And the way that I can tell that it's not an issue is the fact that, does anybody think that Diablo 4 is going to make record sales? Yeah, you guys think so? I think so too. I think it's going to have record sales. Absolutely, it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. Man. I wonder why. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. So, that's clear. Wait, all streams revolve their lives around video games and living as millionaire? Yeah, sure. If it was really that big of a problem, as these people make it out to be, then the market would adjust and nobody would buy the game, and the people that make the game would have to sell it at a different price, because that's how a free market works. How do people not understand this? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's just so astonishing to me. Well, I guess that's why they're posting on these threads. You think it's gonna be massive on launch? Yeah, it's gonna be huge. Yeah, people stop buying. Yeah, if you don't like the price, then stop buying the games. More people have PCs that can run it, buddy. More available. Everything is still inflated as fuck, though. People would say Bootstrap's argument, looking down on working hard. Well, no, there are probably people that don't work hard but think they do. And so they're looking for reasons why doing that is okay. It's really the problem, though. They were going to make huge profits, and they have been making huge profits. The pay raise is arbitrary. You pay more for less. Well, if the pay raise is arbitrary, then why do you have a problem paying more money? It's just, again, I just, more for less. Yeah, what is this a, how do you define this? Prices rise over time for all products. Yes, they do. Yeah, it's circular logic, exactly. So anyway, this is probably the last one. I'm just going to scroll down, maybe read a couple more after this, but then I want to move on. In the same sentence, they'll say, we need UBI and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I swear on the algorithms, there are 2 Asmonds. One with all the left shit he says, and then with all the right shit he says. Yeah. See, this is, I'm sure this is confusing for a Redditor, but I'll go ahead and I'll break it down. So I think that in a perfect world, we're going to have universal basic income, and I think it will be a necessity for living, because automation will take so much of the job force that having an employer and being employed will no longer be a expected way to live. So I think that UBI is inevitable. in the future. However, right now we don't have that. Right now, you need to fucking survive. It doesn't matter what's going to happen in the year 2045. Who cares? Because that's not happening right now. Right now, you should try to survive until then. And you either do that or you don't. So I can give advice on where, like, it's the difference between, like, an idealistic vision and a realistic approach to a day-to-day life. Like, if this is confusing for you, I don't know what to say. I feel like this is very simple. Automated jobs versus the existential growth of the human population. Yeah. Did you pay rent to your parents? Well, not to my parents. I lived with my mom. I didn't pay rent. I paid for everything because my mom didn't have a job. I mean, whenever I was 5, I didn't do that. But yeah, whenever I got older, I pretty much paid for everything. I pretty much supported her ever since. So, like, my dad helped me out a bit, and then I would say from the years 2013 onward, I supported her, and then before then, I also supported her. Back and forth whenever I would just get money from other places. Like, I make money from the IRS, you know, that's going to go towards, like, paying the house or something like that. So, yeah, that's what I would do. What's Cat? Well, I mean, like, she never had a job. I mean, you know, you can go back to my videos, like, you're going to see all my videos of what's she doing. She's playing World of Warcraft. What do you think? She's doing that in between jobs? No, not necessarily. She didn't do anything. That's what it was. Didn't she give you wild gold? Yes, she gave me, Cody, and Jeff, all of us wild gold. Zach, all of us, yeah. So I don't know what else to say. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. I'll read a few more views, bro. What's this here? I don't think Genuine wants to debate with somebody. Well, I'll read what people have to say, but usually it's not. Usually usually people's arguments aren't as. Usually people don't have as good of an argument as they think they do. And also, I don't like this idea. This is like kind of a separate thing, that it's easier to express your point of view in voice than in text. Because personally, I find it much easier to express a succinct and good argument in text versus voice. Because I can clearly, I know what I'm typing out, I know what every single word is going to be, and I press enter. Like, it's much easier for me to communicate and argue with people in text versus in voice. And this is as somebody who talks all day. It's easier in text, but it takes longer to reach understanding. Yeah, maybe. He's banned everyone that can in chat and Reddit. True. His narcissism is insane. He's always had the I'm right and everybody else is wrong mentality. It's gotten worse as he's become more successful. Him refusing to admit he is wrong has been a theme for his streams for a long time. Anyway, so I hope that obviously, like, whenever I read a thread like this, and I don't like to give this stuff too much attention because I think that it's like the more attention you give it, the like more it happens. But like, I do read people's feedback semi-regularly. Just because I don't agree with your feedback doesn't mean that I can't admit that I'm wrong. Maybe I just think that you're stupid. Just because you disagree with me doesn't make me wrong. Like, and you'll see, like, and I think a good example of this is if you read the actual examples that people are using, they're just completely vapid and they don't even make sense. So again, if somebody has a problem with something that I say, then tell me about it. This compassion does matter. I don't want to hear about it. Don't care. It's a podcast by FBI negotiator talking about how important it is, but being bold with words. People are just trying to make it. Are you feeling bad? Have some compassion. Helps the message. Yeah, I don't. That's nice. Go watch somebody else that does that. I don't do that. Yeah, that's all. And I think that I am compassionate with a lot of things. I think that what people really want you to be is not compassionate. They want you to be indulgent. And they want you to indulge their bad behaviors and bad decisions. And tell them they're not bad behaviors and they're not bad decisions. I think that's what they really want. very hard, effective dialogue between two people when one speaking from an emotional, idealistic viewpoint and the other person is a realist, objective viewpoint. It's prone to misunderstandings. Yeah. I mean, do say I know I'm right a fair bit, though. They may be wrong, but I understand why they get that impression. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, if people have an example of that, I'll read it. But I think that somebody saying, like, and I by the way, I completely, this is like the most popular one, right? Are there any more popular ones? Because Asmongold, it's just like, okay, nobody cares, right? Notice the law of this, 100% of it. Okay, so... Oh, here we go. I was watching his stream last night, and he was talking about... Okay, so here's another example. This will be the last one we look at. Watching his stream last night, he was talking about tipping culture. He blames tipping culture on the consumers and not the corporations that create predatory restaurant apps to trip people into tipping. Well, that's because the restaurants don't guilt people. The consumers do. So, like, this the entire foundation of this argument is misaligned. The corporations provide the platform, but the consumers guilt trip each other. His argument was, if you don't tip, then tipping culture would die overnight. You can't really blame the business for asking for money. Yeah, let's just blame and put the responsibility. I guess he means on the consumers for predatory business practices. I don't think that it's predatory. I disagree with it. I don't think that asking for money as a tip is predatory. Because there's no... I do, however, I will give you that I think that asking and then showing the server how much the person tipped before you get your food is very bad. And I think that it's bad on a basic service level. That the person who is serving your food knows how much money you're going to get. Like, it's just, you're creating problems. Like, you should definitely not do that. And also, nobody is forcing you to tip. It's predatory in the sense the workers get paid a shittier wage. Yeah, I think that the only people who are really predatory here, and I do think that, I think also this is a person that listened to half of what I said. I said very clearly that I feel like every company should have to pay somebody a minimum wage. I don't like the idea that, oh, well, some people make tips, so they shouldn't have to be paid a minimum wage. I think that's ridiculous. So I didn't even agree with this entirely. I did think it was predatory, but it just wasn't predatory in this way. He'll always defend predatory business practices because he himself owns a business and streams on a platform that makes restaurant tipping culture look like a fetus. Well, yeah, and so, like, is Twitch predatory too because people can gift subs? I think this is insane. This isn't... And the reason why I find this to be insane is because it completely infantilizes the individual. It makes the individual feel like they have no autonomy and no control. Like, the person is not able to exercise their own best interest. And I don't like the idea of blaming every single instance of a person lacking impulse control on another person. This is extremely dangerous and a bad idea. And I think it's the same thing with tipping. I don't like tipping. I think it's stupid. I tip people all the time because I can, and I make my money through tips to an extent. I actually turned off donations, but because they're just annoying sometimes. Maybe I'll turn them back on if we're going to raise money for something. So, yeah, I mean, it's clearly not the case. Waiters are going to disappear whenever replaced by robots in the next couple of years anyway. Yeah, it's predatory if it's forced. No, it's not. It's only predatory if it's forced before the person makes the transaction. So, for example, if you get a menu and the menu says 20% gratuity is added if you spend over a certain amount of money or you have a party of more than 6, then it's not predatory. It is predatory, however, if it's not on the menu. So, in general, I think that something is not predatory if it's stated before the individual chooses to enter into a transaction. I feel like that's really where the difference is with something being predatory or not. So, and also, like, I don't think that a coffee place asking for a $2 tip is predatory because you don't have to give it to them. Are homeless people begging under a bridge predatory? No. That's insane. What's the difference? Both of them are asking you for money, and you have to use your better judgment to decide whether you want to give them the money or not. I don't know what to say. I'll read it. What do you guys think? I really agree with one of the comments I post. Don't look too much into it. Here for entertainment. Yeah, sure. They asked double the price for coffee. Fuck them. Then don't give it. Then don't give them the money. I think Starbucks is predatory because they asked for $8 for the coffee in the first place. So I don't go. I never fucking go there. Are you fucking insane? What is wrong with you? Go what? Yes, like you know, fucking Taco Bell, their drinks are $2.70. McDonald's were $1. I went to McDonald's. I didn't go to Taco Bell and I talked about how predatory it was because it's a free fucking market and I could just go to McDonald's instead. In the same way that if you don't want to fucking tip, you just don't give them the money. You don't tip them the fucking money. If this is a problem for you, then maybe that's not everybody else's problem. Just because you cannot exercise self-control does not mean the world has to exist with padded walls and fucking, knee pads and helmets with everybody around you in case you hit your head. Maybe you need to pay better fucking attention to what you're doing with your time. This is so absolutely fucking insane that people have this take that something that they willfully engage in, that they choose to do, that they can just simply not do, is somehow predatory. This is nuts. Structure of scenarios developed alongside paid psychologists to maximize profitability. But so this is a well-written post, right? I think it can be a bit of both. They structure app UIs developed alongside paid psychologists to maximize profits and consumer interactions. Same as gotcha game tactics, which is the only way to solve it is regulating business practices, really. You are totally fucking right. And you know what else? You know what that's called? Marketing. Marketing is fundamentally predatory. At a very base level, it is predatory. You are trying to get someone to do something that they would not naturally do. So, yes, I am not going to, if you focus on this one little narrow, reasoning, and then you use the same reasoning that can be applied to the entire, all of it, it doesn't make any sense. It's manipulative, not predatory. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I feel like stuff is obvious to everyone, to people that have never had a job. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's just for young people. I think a lot of young people get on Reddit and they get on these social networks and they're so idealistic and they're so caught up with what their own mind is and what they believe that they're just simply unable to think rationally and think realistically. I think that's what happens a lot, is that they're just simply completely unable to recognize that the world isn't the way they want it to be. It also says manager should be the only one tipping. You shouldn't pay someone decent wage. Don't deserve to be running the business. But the reality is tipping culture does exist. Businesses are in fact being predatory. But he blames consumers for the issue. That's because consumers are the problem. He believes consumers are the reason why tipping culture exists and definitely not the businesses actively preying and guilt tripping. Yes, I do. I believe that, it's both. But I think that the, I think it's 90% consumers. I think 10% of it is because I feel like actually a lot of this would go away if all waiters were just paid minimum wage or an actual wage. A lot of this would just instantly go away. However, I think on a social level, the reason why this happens, and also this is an individual restaurant. And also, doesn't every individual restaurant have the decision that they can make between paying waiters between an hourly wage or tips? They can decide to do that. It's not like every waiter has to be paid by tips, right? Yeah. So I don't know really what else to say about that. Yeah, so like they could choose to work in another place too. Business can absolutely forbid tips. Yeah, it's a choice, exactly. And it's also a choice that exists inside of the free market. So yes, I think that all of the guilt tripping that happens with tipping, most guilt tripping, actually all of it, it's all by consumers. It's not like the company guilt trips you whenever you don't pay money. It's other people on like social networks. It's like these fucking, upper middle class people that are guilt tripping some fucking working class Joe because he couldn't afford to tip 25%. That's not the fucking company being predatory. That's people. Those are the consumers. It's a cultural problem, yes. It's got nothing to do with the companies. I don't know, man. Who do you think lobbied Congress to pass the lower minimum wage law? Yes, I totally agree with you. I do. I totally fucking agree with you that that's problematic. But the businesses that are engaging in this are not, and like, they didn't do that probably. And the people that employ the workers there didn't do that. Ultimately, tipping exists in the way that it does, and it's the inflation with tipping has existed in the way that it does because other people guilt trip each other into tipping a lot of money. That's why it happens. It's not because of the companies. If the company had a $100 button for a tip, is it predatory to have a $100 button? No, that's fucking ridiculous. Just don't push the button. It's insane. Oh my God. I lose my mind thinking about this. It makes me so mad. Yeah, it's just, it's so silly to me that people want to blame the company or whatever, when it's obviously the consumers that are going around guilt tripping and creating a social environment where not tipping is being seen as being bad. Like that's what these companies do. If you can't tip, don't eat out. Well, fuck that. I'm gonna eat out, and if I don't tip, I don't tip. Because you're nobody. You don't matter. It's easy. It's that easy. I don't know why so many people have a trouble with this. Yeah, I mean, it's just do what you want to do. That was gonna be a bitch for you, bro. Or are you're unhappy about what I'm saying? Let's see. Multiply food costs 3 or 4 times to cover overhead and get some profit. Oh, I don't really care about any of that stuff. I mean, like, there are plenty of other, like, there are, like, people say, like, restaurants wouldn't be able to function if they didn't have tips, and, like, they have to have tips. There are restaurants in Europe, right? I've never been to Europe, but I'm pretty sure that there are restaurants there. There are. That is crazy. I wonder, how the fuck did that happen? That is so crazy. Wow. What a fucking miracle. Oh my God. A tip is a tip. Tips are optional. Okay. I will I will repeat myself because obviously people don't seem to understand this. And then I really, really want to move past this. This is just, it's getting so boring. I used to never tip. And whenever they made me tip for like mandatory gratuity, I would steal the silverware to make up the money. I would never fucking tip. Now that I make a lot of money, I tip a tremendous amount of money. I'll buy food for $20. I'll tip $15. It doesn't matter. I don't think anybody should ever feel like they're compelled to tip. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you have to tip. Don't let any fucking upper middle class loser try to guilt trip you into having one of the only little fucking reprieves from the oppressive life that you have. Go out to eat, enjoy it, and don't feel bad about not tipping. It's the same way that if you want to watch my stream on a stolen laptop with a giveaway mouse that you won from a fucking Twitter giveaway, using McDonald's Wi-Fi, drinking Pepsi, or no, that McDonald's actually is Coke, drinking Coke out of a water cup that you asked the cashier for, and you want to watch my stream with ad block on, and you also don't fucking, you're watching it with like a VPN or something like that, so I can't even serve any ads to you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm happy you're here. So, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're welcome. Yeah, sure. So, I think the whole idea of this is ridiculous. I think the idea that, and what I think is the most pathetic is that, at least here in the U.S., there's a massive amount of people who are in like this perpetual cycle of guilt tripping each other for not tipping enough money, whenever all they're really doing is subsidizing multi-billion-dollar corporations like Starbucks and fucking Chipotle and these other like different restaurants like Applebee's into only paying their servers below minimum wage, as if it's their responsibility, as if it's some construction worker's responsibility who gets to go to Applebee's once a month to get the baby back ribs. It's his fucking responsibility. Let's look down on him rather than the fucking billionaires and the millionaires that own the company that are paying the workers there $3 an hour. You've actually got these losers that are going around guilt tripping people who they think they're above because they're not subsidizing the wages that billionaires refuse to pay. It's pathetic. I don't support it at all. So that's my opinion on tipping. And I think that it's entirely the customer's fault. However, I do think the legislation should be removed. So it's like the culture around it is the customer's fault mostly, but obviously they should change the legislation as well. I do think it's the customer's fault. You can't blame somebody for asking for money, but you can blame yourself for giving it to them. I should change my mind on tipping. Well played. Well, I'm glad I did. Sorry if I'll stop spamming. There actually is a minimum wage for waiters. The business has to pay minimum wage if they don't make enough tipping per hour. Yeah, but the odds are if the waiter doesn't make that much money, then or they ask for that, then they'll probably get fired. So like that's true, but it's not true probably. And also like minimum wage isn't that good either. So like it's kind of like a decent argument, but like at the same time it's not. Like I see what you're saying, I agree with you, but I still think that's not really a solution. So yeah.